welcome to another Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. And today we're going ultra tiny into ultra tiny epic galaxies. Now this is the tiny or the ultra tiny version of tiny epic galaxies. This is my full set here. That's from Gamelyn Games, and originally came out with Tiny Epic Galaxies, and then they came out with an expansion, Beyond the Black, and which adds more features and cards, just like you would have in any kind of expansion. And there were some expansions that came out separately for this as well. This is one of my favorite games of the Gamelyn Tiny Epic series. Gamelyn Games puts out games that kind of have this notion of tiny epic, that they're small package games come in a box like this, but yet there's a whole lot of game in there, and the sum is bigger than the parts, right? I mean, they kind of expand out and get into a relatively robust and full board game. In fact, a lot of these games, could have been in a big box, could have been a big box board game, easy for you to say. But they've, jammed them into these small little packages. Of those games, they have Wild West, they have Defenders of a Kingdom, they have fantasy like Epic Quest, and pirates and zombies. There's all kinds of different themes that they've gone to. Out of all those, and I haven't played all those, do not own all of those, but of the ones that I have played and own, this is my favorite, the Tiny Epic Galaxies, which is kind of a somewhat of a 4X. You're basically, rolling dice and using the pips on the dice, kind of collecting those to do certain actions and take land on planets and use the resources, and then, to take control of the planet and develop more abilities to have more ships to go out and get more planets. I mean, it's a really interesting little game and in a very tight package. I really like Tiny Epic Galaxies. So what is this? This is Ultra Tiny Epic Galaxies. So this is basically supposed to be the same game of Tiny Epic Galaxies, but fits in this little box right here, So this isn't that big a box, but this is definitely smaller. So this is Ultra Tiny Epic Galaxies. And let's see what's in this and see what the components look like. They've kind of reduced Tiny Epic into Ultra Tiny, and they've done this on some other games as well. I think they've done Ultra Tiny Defenders of the Kingdom or something like that. They've done a few of the Ultras again, but this is the Tiny Epic is my favorite of their games, and so it'd be interesting to see what this looks like as well. I've kind of held off on getting this because I like this, and this is, to me, is small enough, right? But this was up at an auction and was in a bundle of other games, which I've done some videos on. I don't know if this is going to post before or after those videos, but included in that was like Mindbug and an expansion for Mindbug and some other stuff. So I got a really good deal on a bundle of games, like 4 or 5 games for like $10 in the auction. And this was one of them. This I think retails for like $15 normally, but again, it was just a fraction of the cost. So here are the bits or components. Looks like the dice are, I guess the dice are these little cubes in here, because I kind of see the icons on there. I think those are the dice. It's all reduced in this little cubes, and then the rest of it will probably be cards, right? Oh, and the rules. Wow, the cards are even smaller. Look at that. Look at that. All that fits in that little box right there. So these are your basically your factions, or your player cards, your bases, I would imagine here. So it tells you what you can do on here. Here's how you advance and get more ships as you go up the tech tree. I would think that's the way this is. These are the different players. And here is the central card for your dice activations. And you can have a dice converter. If you roll two of the same, you might be able to, or put two dice together, you can convert it to an action. So you're never really left with can't do anything. But some of your actions are acquire energy, advance economy, move a ship, acquire culture, advance diplomacy, and utilize a colony. You can take over planets usually, again, in the base game through advancing economy or diplomacy. You take over some of those, and then these other actions come into play as well. And, so these might be, the backside might be like the solitaire version. I think that's the way it was in the other game. They had like a built-in bot to play the game. So here's your player cards for the different your different factions going into space. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can play 5 players, and I believe these are the solitaire. At least that's my understanding. Let's take a look at the rules. The rules are even smaller now. Got credits on the back here. So the rules are 19 pages, but they're 19 tiny pages, ultra tiny pages. So there you got your galaxy cards, your control card, 40 planet cards, 12 secret missions. Oh, there is an expansion here. The satellite expansion is in here. That was one of the separate expansions you could get for the tiny epic. Now they have that built into the ultra tiny. You have the 7 dice cubes. So the dice are cubes. Interesting. You have 20 ship cubes, 5 empire cubes, 5 energy cubes, and 5 culture cubes. That's to keep track of on these boards here. And your ships will keep track of it on the planets. It'll be interesting. These are really small, so it'll be interesting how that works out. Then you have the satellites and super weapons mini expansion with some satellite cubes on there as well. So here are the rules of how to play the game. Pretty small here, but what do you expect? This is ultra tiny. But this is how to play the game. The game is not complicated at all. It kind of has a little bit of the follow mechanisms that you see in some 4X games, where you roll and then you can other people can follow some of that. By paying off their board. Again, I'm not going to get into too much into the details of the rules. I might do something on Tiny Epic at some point, because I really do like that game. And I think this probably plays the same way. It's just maybe a little bit more reduced in the components, probably, both in the size and maybe the number. Here's solo play. So you have several rules. So the game rules themselves are only 12 pages, 12 ultra tiny pages. Then you got the solo rules, and then you have the satellite super weapons expansion that's built into this. Let's see what this has in here. And the cards are fine. They're really small, but they're okay thickness. So there's the backs of those. And then this might be part of the expansion. Then you got secret missions. I think this is part of the satellites. And then this is secret missions that you can have here that do different things that you're going to get bonus points for if you accomplish those missions there. Sorry, I'm kind of a little out of center there. All right, let's look at some of these cards here. These are the planets. So this planet here, if you land on it, it will give you culture, but you can also try to take it over by advancing this, and this is, I think, economy. So if you when you roll economy dice and use it to advance, you can advance it on this track and eventually put this in your tableau or as part of kind of your controlled or conquered planets, and then it has a victory point on it as well. Plus it gives you some special abilities if you use that function. So really small here. And some of the planets I remember in the base game had like multiple tracks. These are all like 1 to 2. Oh, here's a 3 track here. Oh, here's a 4 track. Okay, so there's their tracks on there. So the bits are gonna be really tiny. So if you got big fat fingers like me, you're gonna probably be knocking this stuff off a little bit from time to time because the bits are really tiny. But you're gonna be putting your ship here and advancing it along here to eventually take this over. So that's diplomacy. So a lot of either economy to take control of this planet, or in this planet here, it's diplomacy to take that over. Or you can just land on it and get whatever resource it has. So there you have it. Really tiny, really small. It'd be interesting to see how this all fits back in this little tiny box here. Okay, imagine you probably put that sideways. Yeah, like that. That's going to be kind of weird. Anyway, so there you have it. This is what you get in, and these go to that satellite expansion. This is what you get in a box of ultra tiny epic Galaxy. As I said, I really like this game. I really didn't think it needed to be smaller per se, so I didn't pick this up when it first came out. But again, I cannot resist a deal at an auction, and as I said, I got this in a bundle with a bunch of other games that made it kind of irresistible for me. So there you have it. That is ultra tiny epic Galaxies. Love to know your thoughts on that. This game, how do you think this plays? Or if you want to talk about just the basic old tiny epic Galaxies, I'd be happy to hear that as well. But as I said, this theme is my favorite of the ones that I have own and play. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. Love to have your thoughts. Thank you so much for stopping by. Take care. Thanks for watching.